Okay, let's dive right in. We're talking about a charge that, usually doesn't start with some big, elaborate plan. It often begins with just a single moment of panic during a police encounter. It's California Penal Code 148.9, and in this explainer, we're going to break down what it is, how it happens, and what you can expect to come next.
So picture this. You see those flashing lights pop up in your rearview mirror. Your heart just starts hammering in your chest. Maybe you got an unpaid ticket, maybe you're worried there's a warrant out for you. The officer comes to your window and asks for your name, and in a split-second decision, you give a fake one. What really happens after that? That's the exact question we're unpacking here today.
So let's start with the human side of things, right? Because that's almost always where these situations begin. It's not about being some kind of criminal mastermind. It's about being in a really stressful moment and making a bad call.
And as you can see, this kind of thing can pop up in the most ordinary situations. A routine traffic stop, just being asked a question on the street. It's rarely some grand scheme. It's usually just that moment of panic. Someone's worried about a warrant, maybe, and they lie, just hoping to dodge a bigger problem.
And this is the thing you really have to get. The lie itself becomes the crime. You see, the original reason for the stop might have been a minor ticket, something you could have dealt with pretty easily. But by giving that false info, you create a brand new, separate criminal charge that just complicates absolutely everything.
All right, so what exactly is the law here? Let's get into the specifics of what the state of California actually says about giving a fake ID to an officer. Okay, here it is. Penal Code 148.9. Now, the key phrases here are knowingly, which means you did it on purpose, and lawful detention or arrest. And that second part is crucial. It means the officer has to have a legitimate reason to stop you in the first place, like a traffic violation. You can't be charged if the stop itself was illegal. The whole crime is about intentionally misleading an officer so they can't figure out who you really are.
And false information is a lot broader than you might think. It's not just making up a completely fake name. It could be something as simple as fudging your date of birth, giving a phony address, or even using a real person's identity, which, by the way, can spiral into way more serious charges like identity theft.
So how does a simple lie just blow up like that? Let's follow the path from that first conversation with an officer to suddenly being in the back of a police car, all because of that one piece of bad information. You're going to hear this word a lot in these situations: obstruction. And why is that? Well, because by giving a fake ID, you are actively getting in the way of the officer doing their job. Their duty is to identify you, check for warrants, and assess the situation. Lying throws a wrench right into the gears of that whole process. And you can see exactly how it escalates. It starts small, right? A routine stop. Then, bam, the lie happens. That lie is immediately seen as obstruction. And that is what gives the officer a brand new reason to take things to the next level, from just a ticket to an actual arrest. It's a direct chain reaction. Now, it's really important to know that this is usually a misdemeanor. But, and this is a big but, the details matter a ton. If you were lying to hide, say, outstanding felony warrants, or if other crimes were going on, the situation can get way more serious, real fast.
Okay, so the worst has happened. An arrest has been made. What now? This is where a lot of people and their families feel completely lost. So let's walk through what happens right after and try to clear up the confusion around the bail process. So this is pretty much the journey you can expect. First up is booking, where they take all your information. Then they're going to figure out who you really are using fingerprints and record checks. After that, a bail amount gets set. And then, well, it's a waiting game until that bail is posted. It's a system, but man, it can feel slow.
So what's bail even for, really? It's easy to think of it as a punishment, but it's not. It's basically the court's insurance policy. It's a financial guarantee that says, hey, this person will show up for their future court dates. The court just holds the money as collateral. All right, when it comes to getting out on bail, you've basically got two main paths. You can pay the whole shebang directly to the court, and if all goes well, you get that money back once the case is over. The other option is using a bail bond company. This is where you pay them a fee, usually about 10%, that you don't get back, and they put up the full amount for you. For a lot of families, this is what makes getting someone out of jail actually possible. Now, for what might be the most important part of this whole thing. If you or someone you care about is facing this charge, what should you actually do? Let's go over some really practical, smart moves you can make. All right, 5 really practical things to do. First, and this is so important, jail calls are recorded. Do not talk about the details of your case on the phone. Second,
As soon as you possibly can, write down everything, and I mean everything you remember about what happened. Third, get your real ID documents together. Fourth, and this is a big one, talk to a defense attorney. And last but not least, show up to every single court date. It shows the court you're taking this whole process seriously.
And this really brings us full circle, doesn't it? Why is this such a big deal to the police and the courts? It's because the entire justice system is built on knowing who people are. It's all about accountability and keeping a clear record. So when someone lies about their name, the first thought is always, what are they trying to hide? It just breaks that trust right from the get-go. So, we'll leave you with this to think about. That one moment of pure panic, that split-second call to give a fake name, when you stack it up against getting a whole new criminal charge, maybe jail time, and all the legal headaches that follow, is that moment of panic ever really worth the long-term consequences? It's a heavy question.